What's up, guys? We're gonna talk about the JT ProFlex X. The JT ProFlex has been out for a very long time. Like, doing this video, I was thinking back to when I first got mine. I think that 2003-ish was when I first got a ProFlex. They'd been out for much longer than that, but I'd kind of been playing for maybe a year and just got into the ProFlex. But the real problem with the ProFlex, even back when I owned it, was that the lens was impossible to remove. Maybe not like impossible, it was just very, very difficult. And they really haven't updated it since. They've kind of had different versions of it, different colors and stuff. The lens has always been impossible to remove, and they really haven't changed that overall design that much until now with the ProFlex X. So we should kind of like roll that back a little bit, because in 2012, Empire released the E-Flex. So JT is currently owned by GI Sports, which also own Empire. So in 2012, Empire released the Empire E-Flex, which was using the similar bottom to the JT ProFlex, but added the Empire Vents lens system. That Vents lens system, I really like. It's very easy to remove those lenses. The lenses came in a bunch of different colors, or I should say still come in a bunch of colors. And it's just an overall good mask. I like the thing a lot and still use it. So when Empire released like their version or like their replacement to the ProFlex, it didn't really catch on all that much. I mean, at the time, dye masks were very popular, Virtue masks were starting to hit the scene, and the V-Force like Profiler and Grill were still very popular. And then a lot of the old JT owners, guys that had the ProFlex, weren't really a fan. So one of the things that's very popular with JT ProFlex owners is kind of collecting parts and swapping out parts to make custom colored masks. And you can't do that with the E-Flex really. You could put on the bottom, but that's about it. They took different lens system, a different goggle, and then they definitely had different ears. So you could kind of mismatch parts, but not really. You were just able to change the lower. So while it was a good mask, it never really caught on with like non-JT ProFlex owners. And then the ProFlex owners didn't like it because it was too new school and wasn't old school like the ProFlex. So now we finally have the JT ProFlex X. And that ProFlex X is a newer and modern version of the JT ProFlex. It has that different skirt that's going to look very similar to the ProFlex and the E-Flex, but does come all the way around, so it does not have detachable ears anymore. And also uses JT's Premise goggle system that they originally debuted also maybe in 2012 on the Premise. That was my laptop. That Premise is a rental goggle, uses that goggle frame now on the ProFlex X. It's fine. So for sure, comfort is like the thing with the ProFlex. I mean, they're really known for being comfortable, having all that breathability, and kind of just that simple design really made the ProFlex comfortable. So going into this ProFlex X, JT kind of had something to live up to. And putting the thing on right away, it's definitely not as comfortable as the original ProFlex. So the main reason it's not is just because it's a whole different mask, right? I mean, one of the things that makes these masks have unique comfort characteristics, we'll say, is the goggle frame, like how wide it is and the shape of that frame. And going to this quick change lens system on the Premise, or I should say from the Premise on the ProFlex X, just makes it have a whole different feel, right? They did upgrade the foam though, so it is dual density foam. That dual density foam has a little bit more cushioning, might feel a little bit better on your forehead, but will also help and last a little bit longer. One of the things that makes the ProFlex X not as comfortable compared to the ProFlex is really just the ears. I mean, on the original ProFlex, you either had those foam ears or now they're using those newer rubber ears, which are way, way more comfortable than the ears on the ProFlex X. The ProFlex X, just because it has to use that quick change lens system from the Premise, has like big hard spots on the side. It's not very flexible, which means it doesn't really like conform to your head as well as the original ProFlex. So like, I'm not putting it in like an uncomfortable or feels bad category. I would say it's definitely not going to be as comfortable as the original ProFlex or the Empire E-Flex. But that's hard, right? Because those masks are all very comfortable. And, you know, I would put comfort level on the ProFlex X normal. I don't know, it's not fantastic, it's average. I don't know how to explain that. How do you explain comfort? You can see when I'm wearing the ProFlex or the E-Flex that the ProFlex X just kind of has a bigger overall size. That's wider, taller, longer, everything. It's just a little bit larger. I don't know if that's good or bad. It kind of just matters what you want. So if you want a little bit more protection, then, you know, the old ProFlex, the ProFlex X has more. So the main thing that's kind of like made the ProFlex so popular is that bottom skirt area. And it's going to be very similar to the original ProFlex and the E-Flex. I mean, you can just look at it and tell they're very similar. I really like these bottoms, whether it is on the ProFlex E-Flex or the ProFlex X, mainly just because the ventilation is so good. I mean, it breathes so much better than all the other masks. So whether it's 105 outside and I'm doing wind sprints, I can still breathe, or if it's, 30 degrees outside, getting all that ventilation out helps these masks not fog. And just like the original ProFlex, that ProFlex X bottom is rubber. So I think having that rubber bottom kind of like adds to the overall comfort of the thing. I think that having these masks are a little bit pliable, maybe they'll move around a little bit more. I think kind of like shape and fit your heads a little bit better. At least I think that's one of the reasons that like the ProFlex and the E-Flex are a little bit more comfortable though. I think with this ProFlex though, it's not as movable because that goggle frame is so rigid. I know that some people like the rubber bottom though because they think they're gonna get bounces. You know, so you get one really hard, hot paintball coming in, it could bounce off, I guess, if it's rubber. I don't know if I've ever been bounced in the mask. I have been bounced in the lens though. So for sure, you could take it off the rubber. So the goggle frame. So switching over from that original ProFlex goggle frame is a goddamn blessing. So the original ProFlex was a freaking nightmare. I mean, really, that's one of the reasons that I stopped wearing the thing regularly, because changing the lenses is just so hard. There's no like really quick way to do it. You have to like peel the lens out. It's a nightmare. So now taking the lens out is very, very simple. You just pull both of those yellow tabs back. You kind of got to push the goggle strap out of the way a little bit. Then the goggle frame comes off, lens comes out. It's very, very simple. I mean, it takes, I don't know, 15 seconds. It's very easy. So some of you JT ProFlex owners may notice that the ProFlex X does come with the original Spectra lens. So for like 3 to 4 years there, the Spectra lenses were pretty bad. I mean, these lenses are held together because they're a dual pane lens by a piece of foam. When that foam comes unglued or starts to separate, the lenses can fog. So JT have changed the foam and changed the glue, so apparently they're gonna stick together a little bit better. And they do look better. On the previous or old lenses, you could see like little air bubbles or like air pockets in that foam, kind of like maybe where the glue didn't dry well. But on these ones, it's very smooth, and that glue or that foam looks like it's pressed together really well. It's kind of hard to test these lenses because most of the lenses are failing after like 6 months of use, you know, using it every weekend. ProFlex X hasn't been out that long, but the lenses definitely look better. I should also say about that goggle frame, some people had like concerns about that thicker goggle frame, maybe like impeding your vision a little bit. I don't notice it at all. I mean, it might be like, you know, 2% less vision or something up at the top and the bottom, but putting the thing on, I can see exactly the same stuff. Also having all that ventilation on the bottom and then carrying it around up into that ear area makes them hear very well. So some of these masks, I think for me at least, are very muffled and I kind of can't hear as well with them. That's one of the reasons that I always kind of liked the ProFlex and that E-Flex, because the ears were so open. And really the ProFlex X is the same way. Because they've carried all those holes up to the ear, I can hear it very, very well in the ProFlex X. And we should also say that echoing isn't bad too. So a lot of the time when people are yelling, you kind of get like some reverberation into your ears from that mask. But the ProFlex X, because of all of those holes, there's no echo either. So overall, I'm pretty happy, we'll say, with the ProFlex X. My big things with like the original ProFlex were just how well they breathe. Like I want the mask to be as breathable as possible. So taking all of that ventilation from that ProFlex and the E-Flex, I'm happy about just because I can breathe so well in it. And then changing the lens on the original ProFlex was so terrible that I'm very happy that they changed it over. And now we can quick change the lenses on the ProFlex X. So I think for me though, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if I want one, right? Like, I really like it. Like, I'm a fan of these style masks. I'm a fan of that ProFlex. I'm a fan of the ProFlex X and the E-Flex. But like, it's just not as comfortable. It's not as comfortable as the ProFlex. It's not as comfortable as the E-Flex. And since they're all just pretty much as breathable, I think it comes down to like, which one's the easiest to take apart? Still the E-Flex. And then like, you know, which one's the most comfortable? And it's between the ProFlex and the E-Flex. But the only issue with the E-Flex is like, I don't think they're making that thing anymore. They said they were gonna discontinue that 3-4 years ago, but then continued making it. And now they said they're doing it again. I think they're discontinuing the E-Flex. So maybe I will be buying a ProFlex here pretty soon. I don't know. I keep doing this conclusion over and over, so we're just ending it here. If you got more questions, leave a comment below.